welcome to week number 3 of the Final Whistle. I'm Kyle, he's Mark, and we are
Mark.
excited to bring you another great episode of the podcast. Mark, how you doing, my guy?
Man, I'm doing pretty well. Other than some internet issues, we're getting closer and closer um to some big time football. We have a lot to talk about today with preseason and things like that. But other than that, I mean, I couldn't be more stoked. We're on to week 3 already, and time's flying by here. And again, appreciate you guys all for tuning in and listening each and every week. It's getting better and better as the weeks go on. More and more to talk about. So yeah, I mean, I just appreciate all you guys. Kyle, I appreciate you. This is our little thing that we created, and it's going strong so far.
Yeah, I appreciate you, my guy. It's been a whirlwind. We appreciate you all listening to episode 2 and on episode 1. We're working on things behind the scenes. We're trying to get some guests lined up for you all. So hopefully next couple weeks and months we'll have guests for you to hang out with us throughout the show and give us their takes on different sports. So stay tuned for that. Those are in the works. But yeah, as Mark said, we appreciate you tuning in every week, and I hope I'm in a better spot next week when it comes to freaking internet. But we'll see down the road as we're working on that as well. Week 2, we'll see how many weeks we go with internet troubles. Maybe we'll set a record or something with that. But we'll see.
That's not one I'm trying to set, but if we do it, uh, put us in the Guinness Book. I'll take any type of notoriety at this point.
Hey, right on, right on. So, all right, here we go. We're gonna do a quick review of UFC. It's gonna be quick because we talked about it last week, and then we'll move on to a couple other topics, and then we'll wrap up with picks, CFP picks, or college football picks for week 0, and we'll get you all out of here. So, what a night it was for UFC. There was a lot of interesting fights, especially I think the first one, Tim Elliott versus Kai Askura, and who would have thought that Elliott, the 33-year-old, would have went in there and did what he did to Askura?
Man, yeah, I agree. I think he shocked a lot of people. I think it also goes to show you what pressure and some good wrestling to do can do with someone that is primarily a striker, but also in that same breath, I think it also shows the level that the UFC is at compared to other promotions. I mean, the guy Asakura was a two-time champion in Ryzen, and Tim Elliott made him look like a joke. He made him look like he never fought MMA before.
Right?
Um, Obviously, we both picked Asakura to win. I expected him to catch him, but um, Elliott stayed on the pressure, wrestled him. Didn't look too bad on the feet either, honestly.
No.
And I think he ruined a lot of people's parlays pretty early into the night.
Yeah, and we look. I mean, it looked when coming out. Askura looked. He was coming out firing and going after Elliott the
He
first,
was confident, man. He looked confident, and he looked like he was supposed to be there and supposed to win. And then from there, I mean, he kind of petered out.
yeah, the first couple minutes he was firing. He was throwing some good heavy haymakers, and then Elliott, the veteran, we could say, he went ground and pound and got Oscar to the ground and Kai taps, and that was kind of I think a shocker of the night. So, I mean, the earlier prelims were good, but the first fight of the main card was kind of a shocker, thinking Oscar was going to go in there and do what he does, the Japanese fighter. But Elliott, came out on top that fight.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a shocker. While I was sitting there watching, I was like, man, what am I seeing here? Like, what did I miss in the breakdown? But I mean, at the end of the day, we also weren't the only ones that picked that way. A lot of people had Asakura and Asakura big, and it. I mean, the chips just didn't fall that way.
Right. And then we're going to move on to Michael Page and Canyard. That was an interesting fight as it was going back and forth a little bit. Canyard had the upper hand in a couple minutes of each round. Then we went back to Page, but Ultimate Page got another ground and pound type of fight and kind of wrestled Canyard, which resulted him in the win. And I thought that was an interesting fight because we didn't know Page was on a roll. His past couple fights, he's been on a roll. He has won, and he's up in his 30s too, so we don't know how long he has left. But it was good to see Page get up there and take on one of the best. Cannonier, he's been up and down, but he was able to strike. He was able to get his shots, and it was a good back and forth. But ultimately, Page in the end was ground and pound, and he fought his way to victory.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's I think Rogan said it on the broadcast that I was listening to. I mean, that point fighting style is a hard style to beat, especially when you're a multiple time world champion. Like you're a multiple time like fifth. I think the broadcast said he was like a fifth degree black belt when it came to point karate fighting. It's all about blitzing in, being fast, and
Right.
he's been in MMA long enough where his takedown defense is good, and he can stuff a lot of those takedowns, which is all anybody wants to do with them. Anyways, his first those first two rounds, I mean, he dropped Cannonier with some flash knockdowns,
Yeah.
and then he was able to coast in the third round. And as long as Cannonier didn't beat him up too bad in the on those takedowns at the end, he was I mean, he was able to edge out that win. He looked good on the feet. I thought he kind of coasted in the third round, and Cannonier really missed an opportunity on some ground and pound there. But credit to Page's defense, and I mean, when his striking is on point, it's on point. I know he said he wants to, or he still has some unfinished business in the middleweight division or in the division before, but I mean he was up a weight class again this fight and looked great doing it. So I don't think that that weight is an issue for him. Now, granted, there's some wrestle heavy fights up in the middleweight division where he would have to deal with. Obviously, we saw one later on in the fight card, but I mean that type of striking is definitely going to be hard to deal with no matter who you are.
Yeah, he even said, after the fight, he wants to fight. I think this is the real card in October, October 11th. He wants to fight our next fight. We're gonna talk about Neil versus Prates, and what an ending that was. A back spinning elbow, Prates to Neil to end it, and Neil was split open. And we were talking, during the fight, we were just like, holy, cow, like
Man,
wow, like out
he
of
split his
nowhere.
brains open. His brains were spilling out of his head.
Yeah, it
Jeff
was.
Niels.
He was seeing stars. Like I couldn't believe it. It was a third round fight. And it was a 3 round fight, and then Paredes out of nowhere, literally almost at the buzzer, with a back, and that I was like, oh, like goodness gracious, like that shocked me. I thought we're gonna go to a decision, but here we are with a knockout and Paredes with the win.
Yeah, I mean, I would in the initial notes that I had when I was watching that fight, like mentally, I was thinking, dang, we might have just seen a candidate for KO of the year. Yet in back to back fights, we ended up with back spinning elbow KOs. I mean, Process looked good. It looked like he in that first round, Neil hit him with a shot or two that kind of woke him up, and then he started styling on Neil. I think he started to get into his groove
Yeah,
midway through that first round, and after that, that first round was like pretty back and forth, but at the same time, that he started to pull away in that second round, and at the end of the day, he ends up with a knockout. But I think he would have got a 29-28 or even a 30-27 decision. Protest looked good. He looked comfortable on the feet, and he took some. I mean, he took some good shots, but again, his lifestyle of smoking those darts and partying, man, it's gonna take him places. And again, that fighting nerd team, man, they're intense, they're insane. Don't sure Not sure why my light went off there, but apparently this light has it on its own. Again, those fighting nerds, man, they're hell to deal with. And if Protest can stay on the feet and you don't take him down, man, obviously we haven't seen a whole lot. I know Ian Gary edged out that win against Protez on the ground.
yeah.
But if you can't get the guy on the ground and you let him stand up with you, you're in a world of trouble.
Yeah, those like you said, those Brazilian fighting nerds, they're always there. They're always in the fights, no matter if it's Silva, if it's Prates, and when they're out, they team and train together, and you see Prates come in and he's ready to fight Page. They want to fight. Hopefully Dana makes the fight. We don't know. Kind of
I'd
it's
love
kind
to see
of
it. That would be crazy.
it's what month and a half away, so we'll see if Dana
I think so. Yeah.
agrees to it. Because I think that's the Oliveira card, so we'll see if he gets a lot of Brazilians on there. I'm sure he will. Dana's good like that, getting the country represented. So we'll see on that as Page and Prates could be in the works, or could be in the works for MSG or the new Paramount deal come January. So we'll have to see on that as we're just flying through these fights, guys. So that's why. So we get to what we initially want to talk about today, and we're gonna move on to Pico and Murphy. Another backspinning elbow and Murphy defeats Pinko. Murphy remains undefeated, 17-0. Strong start for Pico, but Murphy in the end was ultimately too much with that TKO.
Yep. I thought Pico came out good. He definitely showed that um I mean again he is where he belongs in the UFC. I think he had the best showing of a UFC newcomer, but at the end of the day he got caught. Um and I think Murphy made a case for either a number one contender or a title shot here. I mean,
Yeah.
Volkanovski outside of Topuria, who isn't in his division anymore, has pretty much cleaned that out again, and he's looking for new blood. And I think Lerone Murphy kind of cements himself as a top contender. He's got that O, which we know Volkanovski likes to take or challenge himself
Yeah.
with guys with O's,
Volk. Yeah.
and I think Murphy has a good claim to it. Again, he's 17-0, and he took a fight in Pico that wasn't necessarily advantageous to him as far as UFC standards come. I mean, Pico wasn't ranked; he's a newcomer, but everybody was high on him, and he knocks him out again with the second backspinning elbow of the night. So I think he has a good shot to either get a number one contender or a title shot here coming soon.
Yeah, because we haven't seen Volk in almost a year. So Volk, Volk's ready. He if yeah, I believe we haven't seen Volk in a year. Could be a little less, but yeah. So when Murphy and Volk, that should be a good one. Who knows where they do that? But I would give the edge to Murphy. I think a little bit. We saw Volk kind of struggle his last few fights, and I think Murphy, after coming off what he just did and coming off some of his previous fights, you can't underestimate him. And I think what does Volk got left? We don't know. As look at Volk in Abu Dhabi last year, he got his lights. He lost
I
and he
mean, yeah,
just
he got his lights put out back to back in back to back sessions there. So
looked like
I
he
mean, he
looked like
looked.
he didn't look like the Volk of old, what we've seen when he was in Abu Dhabi last year for sure. So, all right, we're gonna go one more championship fight before we move on. Duplessis Kazmat wasn't really all that impressive. Kazmat Russell Duplessis to the ground, and that was pretty much it. After the second round, Duplessis it was pretty much over, and Kazmat Shemenev wins. He's a champ. We'll see where he fights next, but all this, I mean, kind of expected from Shemenev and or Chimaev, I should say, and here we are, champ and Duplessis figure out what's next.
Yeah, I mean, it went semi how I expected. Kamzat really sprinted out of the gates. He
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I mean, he dominated the whole entire fight, which the whole big question was, can he go all 5 rounds as intense as he normally does? He answered a lot of questions. I mean, that style of wrestling, no matter boring or not, which in my personal opinion, I don't think it was just what people will call like a wrestle fucking of Duplessis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he got him in 15 minutes worth of crucifix time. That's insane all in its own. Like he was working, and the style of wrestling that he brings is intense. It's grueling. It's cardio based. Like he never left his foot off the gas. And not to mention the fact that I think he baited Duplessis a little bit. And I think Duplessis was honestly came into the fight scared. I think he knew he was going to get taken down, but he also knew that
Yeah.
um, he didn't know what it was going to happen after that. And I think that scared him. Kamzat kind of baited him into thinking for a little while in each of those rounds that he was going to sit there and strike with them. He gave him a couple strikes, then level changed and controlled the whole round. Um, and I think he touched Duplessis' gas tank in a way that I think nobody expected, and he was dominant. I think it was a 5-0 shutout. I think 3 of those rounds are a 10-8. In my personal opinion, if you're
Yeah,
sitting there,
I
I mean,
Duplessis can do that.
500 strikes and 3 separate crucifixes in 3 separate rounds,
Yeah,
that's a 10-8 to me. And to be honest, I think the ref gave Duplessis the benefit of the doubt because I mean he's sitting there and I think DC said it, while those strikes don't seem like they hurt, you're just getting completely and utterly pounded in the head over and over again. 100 plus strikes in a round. You might think they're rabbit punches, but when you're on top and you can't shuck them off, you can't move, and you're just getting punched in the face. Look how
yeah.
Duplessis' face looked after that fight. It wasn't pretty.
And he was on the ground. He was, Shamanev had him, and Duplessis had nowhere to go, had nowhere
He had
to
no
fight.
answers.
He had no answers. As soon as he got taken down, was pretty much it. And he tried. I mean, the fifth round, he had some good shots, but ultimately in the end, it was too late. And
Yeah,
Shamanev
he just didn't have enough gas in the tank.
No, because it takes a tear when you're on the ground. The body's laying on top. You're trying to escape. You just waste all your energy, and then you got to try to get back up and fight another either 2 or 4 rounds, depending on what type of fight it is. But and then you get knocked down. You get knocked down again in the second round, and ultimately now the doubt starts creeping in, and you get down the third fight or third round. You're like, oh, that's it now too, because now you're like, oh, I guess this is it. And then you try the fourth
Yeah,
round and
the
round.
inevitable is happening.
Yeah, when a guy like Chimaev, who's who's one of the best fighters. First fight out of the United States, 15-0. We'll find out what his next move is. Probably be next year, we would think, unless he sneaks up. Well, he
Well,
did
he did
say
he did say
yeah,
he wants to fight in Abu Dhabi though.
Abu Dhabi, which is in October. So we'll see if Dana White agrees to that. Sometimes he does,
And he
depending on
didn't
the fight.
take much damage, so I could see it happening. And Dana in the post fight presser said he loved that Khamzat wanted to be more active, and at one point Khamzat fought 3 fights in 3 weeks. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
not out of the realm of possibilities for him.
no, it's not. So we'll see what Dana White does there. We should know probably in the coming weeks. It's getting close. So there's no pay per view in September. We get back to it in October. There's kind of a big fight night, but it's not really nothing too crazy about that. So we'll be back to UFC talk. We'll probably get back to that big fight night. A couple fights in around the card, but we probably won't cover it extensively unless there's news that breaks until the pay per view, the next pay per view, which is October 4th. So stay tuned for that. So all right, so we're gonna move on to the Browns. They defeated the Eagles 22-13 this past Saturday, and wasn't Shador Sanders playing. It was Dylan Gabriel, 13 for 18, 143. One INT that got taken back to the house. But Mark, I know we were talking. You had some thoughts on how Gabriel looked and what kind of worried you and what kind of made you a little nervous watching him.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he started off well. It was kind of another display of that Stefanski offense, what we're used to seeing from him, which is play actions, run heavy, et cetera, et cetera. I thought Gabriel in the beginning, again, short passes. This is what I thought about him coming out of college. Those short to intermediate passes, if he stays within the game plan, he's not a terrible quarterback. But then once a defense starts to adjust and they make him make plays and make decisions, that's where he starts to struggle. Great. And remember, these were the twos of the Eagles defense.
Yeah,
Granted, while the Panthers aren't the best team, they don't have a bad defense, and Shador played the ones in that game. So that is a big point to note. Again, Gabriel was playing against twos, but playing with twos and threes. So I mean, he doesn't have the best team to throw to there, obviously, but I just didn't like his decision making. It was also said on the broadcast that the decision making was shaky, and that's what worried me when he came out of college. Is in big games, in pressure moments, he doesn't make the best decisions. He lost a fumble, and while I put as much of that interception on the receivers in that play on that pick six as I do to Gabriel, in that case you either run it because he has athleticism. I believe he runs a 4.6, 4.7 40, which
mm,
isn't too shabby. It can get you yards. Instead, he forces the ball. It's an easy pick. Again, granted, the levels of the receivers weren't correct. They ran right into each other, which is another discussion for another day. It harps back onto my worries about the receiver room with the Browns. But I didn't like Gabriel's decision making. And
which
then
we
after that, he looked
go ahead, you finish.
I mean, I was saying after that, he looked shaky and he lost a fumble after that
Yeah.
drive. So I mean, I just again after out of college, I think that he is easily rattled, and once the avalanche starts to come, once that snowball starts to roll, he isn't the best in bringing it all back. We saw that when he played Ohio State in college, and we just saw it again against the Eagles. Now the Eagles have a great defensive coach and defensive system, and they have a lot of depth on that defense. But at the same time, you were the third round pick. You're supposed to be these people's guys, and originally I thought the Shador
But
injury could have been bad for him, but it appears to only have helped him, being that he played against Carolina's ones and Gabriel struggled against those twos.
but But I mean, we go back to the draft. Why did we pick Gabriel? Why, or if we went with Sanders, we still don't know. And we talked about this a little bit last week. We still don't know what we may not never know. Maybe we'll know down the road. But why was Gabriel picked? Why was Sanders picked? Like the real reason, we don't know. I mean, without looking at the game, the line looked okay. 13 for 18, 143 against the twos. With twos that are probably going to play, barring with an injury. So you got some work there. At the same time, you got to think, is he going to be the future? He's small. He's like Shador. He's small, but I don't know. And after these past 2 weeks, like you said. I like Shador. I'm starting to become a Shador. Jump on the bandwagon a little bit, not much. We still got a little bit. We still got to see how he does, but now we'll interesting to see. They named Flacco the quarterback on Monday, so we'll see if Shador's the two, if Pickett's the two. What happens? We still got a couple weeks to go, and team will be looking for a quarterback. And maybe that was a showcase. Does he play? Does Gabriel play this week? Shador play this week? We don't know yet. We might know by the time this thing or the show gets released. But at the same time, if he's not adjusting, it's what do you do? I mean, are they going to carry four quarterbacks? I saw something today. They may carry four quarterbacks now. Do they do that? Do they, cut somebody, trade somebody? I thought you got to trade. I think. I mean, you at this point you got to trade either Gabriel or Pickett. You can't have. I don't think you can have four. But if that's what they want to go with, I guess you got to go with four.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree. I think um, with the other Browns news that came out late last week of the Isaiah Bond signing, which I do really like that signing. That's a first 2 day guy. I mean, he was rated all the way up until the first round until his legal issues. I think that kind of tells you where maybe things are going to go. I could see one of the two young quarterbacks ending up on the practice squad potentially,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I assumed in the beginning of the year after the draft happened. But at the same time, I have been seeing a lot of moving into the season with four. But then again, if you're Andrew Berry, I feel like you're on your last opportunity, your last season. If this doesn't work, you might be out of a job. So do you really want to handicap this roster by
Yeah.
carrying in four mediocre quarterbacks? Or I mean, you know what you have in Kenny Pickett. It's not very good in my opinion. I think that was a waste of a trade. Um, I don't mind keeping the two young guys and trying to trade Pickett as a backup. I think either one of them are a decent backup, especially now that you've named Flacco the number one guy. I also think that going back on the roster situation, you have guys that have really flashed in the preseason, such as Jamari Thrash has had good days and a good preseason so far, and so has Caden Davis, who they both have had back-to-back good preseason games in a bad wide receiver room. You need all the help you can get for Flacco and for these young quarterbacks. I think that you should really only take three guys.
Yeah.
Um, and either try to trade one or send one to the practice squad. Now, do you really also want to end up in a position where we all know how the practice squad works? Those guys can get poached at any time. So, do you really want your potential third round guy getting poached? Do you want Sanders getting poached when you
I
know
don't
how
think it'd be
um,
real Pickett. I don't think it'll be. I think they're smart enough about that at least. I
I
don't
w-
think.
I would hope so, but at the same time, um, it goes back to why was Gabriel, excuse me, picked, and why was Pickett traded for? I would venture to guess that you cut Huntley or put him into the practice squad, and then you try to trade one of these other guys. I personally would try to trade Gabriel. I think he's just a left-handed Baker Mayfield with a lot less moxie. And I don't think I've never really liked him coming out of college. I think he's an older rookie that should be a lot better and a lot more polished that I don't think he is. He's small. He's what, 5'10", 5'11". Shador's up over 6 foot tall. Shador's had a better camp by all the reports, and I think he's just a better decision maker and has a better upside. Whereas Gabriel, I mean, again, you're looking at a guy that isn't as competitive as Mayfield, but he's got the same size, and he's a left-handed quarterback, which don't want to say that that's a big deal, but it is because then you have to tailor your offense that way, and that's not easy to do either.
No, and I completely forgot about Huntley, but you got to assume either Huntley's getting cut or he's going to get picked up by somebody because he's
And
not
he
going to
didn't
make.
look very good either.
No, and I don't know. Unless they thought the other because they just needed guys for reps for preseason, knowing that Gabriel or Sanders might not be ready. That's the only thing I can think of. But I think he's going to be gone. It's going to be him and someone. It's probably going to be Gabriel. It's going to be gone. You keep Flacco, Pickett, Sanders, but then again, if we're out of it, what do we do with Flacco? Do we trade him? Do we sit him to a contender? Or trade him to a contender? Do we sit him? That's another thing too to keep those
I
four
mean,
where you
yeah.
slide Gabriel to the practice squad and Whatever happens, happens. Or you slide Pickett to the practice squad. Whatever happens, happens. But I think you're going to go Flacco, Pickett, either it's probably be Sanders. Gabriel goes to the practice squad. If he gets picked up, you cut Huntley. I think it's what you got to do because I don't think. I mean, we always forget about Watson, but we doubt he's going to play or even come back. If he does come back, I think
Well,
that's
and I believe he's already been marked as IR for the year, so I don't think they can take him off
mm,
um, by league rules standards. But again, I mean, I don't like Pickett. I think you've been able to see what Pickett is. You already know what you have there, and it's not very much.
right.
So at the end of the day, like I still don't understand that trade. I would like him to be gone, but at the same time, he is a viable quarterback 2 or 3 option. I like both the young quarterbacks better than Pickett, but at the same time, um, Barry has to have something up his sleeve somewhere, or it's just at this point it's whoever the best 3 are. I have no idea. This is the first time I've ever been this perplexed with a position room the way it sits,
They're,
and
they're
I
still
mean you
thinking
pretty much wasted a 5th round pick.
they're still thinking maybe Arch, but he's not certain he's going to come out. Or do we shift to Drew Aller, who we still don't know? Well, I mean, he's probably going to come out, but he's the number one pick? Probably not. Is Arch number one pick? Probably. So I I don't know. I don't know what this I don't know what they're doing. It's like you said, it's frustrating. I mean, who knows? Flacco could be what we do. 2 years ago we had him 2023. He leads us to the playoffs all out of nowhere, and here we go again. Okay, we're back. Or we and then next year we fall. But I don't know with this team. We don't know what we're gonna get year in year out. So I don't know. It definitely going to be an interesting season when we get to football or when we get to the week one coming up in a couple of weeks. So
Yes, but I will say before we jump off the Browns, the defense under Schwartz again looks to be good this year, and it looks like we have a little bit more depth than I think what we thought. They had some turnovers and they had their own pick six, I believe. Some guys are making plays. We have depth there. It's clear that that's a strong point of our team, and Schwartz has those guys together again this year. So hopefully they can carry us to some wins and the offense can catch up.
and who knows how long Schwartz is going to be here? I know he's been in the head coaching talk the last couple of years, defensive coordinator talk the last couple of years. So we'll see. This is last year. Does he get resigned? I don't think he's got resigned yet with us. So unless he did, I could be wrong, but we'll see. I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
not sure.
how long does he stay with us, knowing what kind of situation we got going on here? And credit to him for staying. Hey, he's doing what he can on his side, and it's just the offense got to pick up the slack and helping out because you can't just rely on defense. Even though they say defense wins championships, but you need that quarterback, you need that offense to pick him up to complement the defense well. But if that doesn't happen, then here you go. You're nothing. You're one sided. It's never going to work.
Nope.
So all right, so we're going to continue on here. We got some college football to talk about. We will get to week 0 coming up momentarily, but we also have some college news that broke last week as well. After the last time we spoke with you, we finally got a resolution, and I know to the dismay of some, but Michigan has gotten his punishment or their punishment for the Counter Stallions Stein stealing scandal. As I know, Mark's have some words on that. Um, Pretty much it was a slap on the wrist. You got a 4-year probation, which is nothing. A $50,000 fine. It takes 10% from the football their earnings from the football program. A 14 prohibition communication with recruiting, which means there's 14 weeks you can't really you're prohibited or you're on probation, different recruiting or whatever they do. So we're recruiting. Stallions is banned for 8 years, so his tenure is pretty much done. Jim Harbaugh is he's banned for 13 years pretty much. He's got 2 short clauses. He got this one that just came out, but that don't start till 2028 because he's got to finish one from that. When he lied about the hamburger or what they say initially lied about the hamburger.
Yeah.
So he's got 4 years. He's got to finish that one. That ends in 2028. Then this one starts in 2028. So, but ultimately, he's laughing. He ain't gonna come back. He's NFL or Super Bowl or bust at this point. And Terrell Moore, 2-year show clause. He does have a 3-game suspension. He'll serve 2 of them this year. Week 3 versus Central Michigan. Week 4 at Nebraska, Big Ten opener. That could be sneaky. And then the opening next year game one when they play Western Michigan in Germany of all things. So ultimately, Michigan was a slap on the wrist. I know Ohio State fans aren't really happy about that, but here we are. Michigan, no bowl ban, no postseason ban. Wins are still there, and let's play ball now. All this is behind us. Let's play ball.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was a slap on the wrist. Obviously we've talked ever since that news broke that this was even a thing. I kind of knew this was coming. I didn't think the NCAA would do much on it. It was definitely interesting to see what they did. The recruiting thing would have been the worst potential option because let's be honest, the national championship and the merchandise and the fact that they have an NIL partner that is in the top 5 in the world, most wealthy people.
Yeah.
That 10% is, I mean, they blow their nose with that. Let's be honest. It comes out of a little portion of their natty pool. At the end of the day, like I said, the worst thing would be recruiting. But at this point, Sharon Moore, to my surprise at least, has learned a lot from Harbaugh's level of recruiting. Michigan is already a big school; they should be getting big recruits, but Moore has showed that he can do the hard work with recruiting just like Harbaugh did, which again was to my surprise. I was an avid doubter or an avid questioner of whether or not he could hold the throne as well as he did. He brought in a good recruiting class. They are Michigan. They are natty winners. They get 5 stars. So recruiting, I mean, 14 weeks at the end of the day. People want to come to Michigan anyways. And they've got money. NIL kind of negates any type of
Gates.
um, thing when it comes to being able to talk to somebody or not. So that's not really anything.
No, and you got bring it up as I brought it up too. NIL. All right, whatever. You can't. You're kind of restricting it on some recruiting for a little bit, but all right,
Yeah,
NIL.
I
The
can't
make
I
up
can't
for it.
talk to somebody for 14 weeks, but in week 15, I can offer you a couple mil and you'll still come to Michigan regardless because you know you're going to be on national TV.
Yeah, you're gonna be on national TV. You're gonna be, and they get well, other part of the punishment they get whenever. So the next two postseasons, they get their revenue gets cut, so they don't get paid. They get that taken away for the punishment. I forgot that in there, but yeah. So you got more. It's gonna be interesting. More suspended. Should beat Central Michigan. Should have no problem defeating Central Michigan. No problem, especially after Oklahoma win or lose there, and then you
No, I
go.
mean
But
that
no,
Nebraska game could screw them over, especially because we saw how they looked on a coaching suspension last year. They didn't look as good. Now they have a lot more talent this year than they did last year, and they know it's coming. It's not a flash suspension by any means, so they'll be prepared. Um,
yeah,
Again, they have a new offensive system and things like that, so maybe that plays a role. But at the same time, I mean, they have the pieces there, and they can work through something like that. So I mean, that's already going to be a tough game in Nebraska. Maybe it hurts them a little, but I don't think it hurts them too much. And we don't have to keep harping on it and keep waiting for all these what ifs. We already knew Harbaugh wasn't coming back to Michigan. He picks
yeah,
all his Michigan guys anyway, so what does it really matter? Stallions was never going to be allowed to come back to that program or in that stadium again anyways, and he loves Michigan so much he wouldn't do that to harm that program anyway. So I mean, everything kind of just is what it is. I think we all knew that Michigan being the powerhouse that they are and being the national media powerhouse that they are, there was no way they were going to get anything too serious, and there wasn't a whole lot of proof on it, other than the fact that Stallions admitted to it and then left the program, and he did what he did. But other than that, again, I kind of knew this was coming, and I'm just glad that it's finally over with. We can all just move on and enjoy some football and not have to worry about whether or not somebody's sign stealing or acting weird or whatever the case may be um throughout. And there's no more excuses now.
no, there's no more excuses. And people can talk about all they cheated, but look what they did in 2023. They lost. Was going before Penn State. Remember, Michigan got to Penn State, and they were waiting for everybody on the tarmac for the airplane. And that's when Harbaugh pretty much got suspended. He got suspended, and he couldn't coach in Penn State, couldn't coach in Maryland, couldn't coach for Ohio State that year, and they still won without Stallions, without Harbaugh. So was it really cheating at that point, or was it really okay? Team was just better because that Michigan had everything against them to lose against Penn State and against they almost lost to Maryland for all they have, I think won by like
Yep.
3, or it was close. But then and also Ohio State they had everything in their path to lose, and now you get they run a table, beat Iowa, beat Alabama, beat Washington, and they're national champs. So I don't know how much you could say about losing to about the cheating from that point on. I think Michigan was just really that good. That's not
Yeah,
biased.
I agree.
Saying okay, what was Ohio State's excuse? They had like I said everything on the table, couldn't do it. So against a rookie head coach versus Ryan Day, I mean, what? There's really no excuse for losing that game for Ohio State.
Yep. And I've been on that train unfortunately as well, and I've agreed the whole way. There's definitely no excuses now.
No excuses, and there was no excuses for Ohio State to lose last year. So 5 in a row coming up. We cannot. We are already look. We've been talking a little bit. We cannot wait for that Michigan Ohio State game. Pretty much that might be what the whole show is going to be about, for being honest, that week. So
Yeah, no kidding.
we're excited for that, but we got ways to go. So we don't want to rush it. We don't want to rush football or the season. So we're excited to get that going here and next or this week or week 0. But folks, are you looking for having a flyer made for your next big event that you could share with your friends on the phone or through social media? Well, we have a solution for you. Our good friend Alex Hernandez, who has made this amazing poster as you've seen popping up right on your screen there, can help you out as he shows off his incredible digital design skills for, if you have anything, you make a birthday party or something like we're doing a podcast online, you could reach him via Instagram to give your ideas and watch him work his magic and make one of the best flyers you've ever seen. If interested, contact Alex today for all your inquiries. And we've known Alex for quite some time, and him and his family are amazing. And we've got, I've lived across the street from Alex for many years, and I know I've introduced Mark to Alex a number of years ago, and he's a great guy, and he kind of as I said, set these posters up and was like, hey, I want to show off my skills. So we let him do it, and look, he made those amazing posters. So we're going to be advertising a little more of those when the shows come out here in the next couple weeks. But Alex, you're a great guy, my dude. Keep going. We can't wait to see where this graphic design takes you. And if anybody reaches out, please let them know we referred you so that we know, so Alex knows and we know that you came from us and it's not just, some random, person. But Al, you're an amazing guy. You and your brother, family, both. Just keep doing you. And I know, Mark, you've had nothing but, fun and positive, experiences with him as well throughout your years knowing him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Alex is again to reiterate what Kyle said. Great dude. His brother's a great dude. They have a great family. And I'll be honest, Alex knows I talked to him right after the posters were made. I was shocked with how talented he was making them. And I would recommend them to anybody that needs one made. The kid's talented. He's hungry, and I mean he's in school, willing to learn and put the time in. So yeah, I mean if you guys hit Alex up, tell them the final whistle sent you, and that way we know who's taking the initiative there. But again, yeah, Alex, keep going. I'm real proud of the success that you're seeing and the way you're going in life. Again, great dude, great family, and a great product he's putting out. So by all means, if you need something made, he's definitely your guy, and I highly recommend him.
Yeah, and he's very creative. And I actually was golfing him this weekend. We were kind of talking about the poster and all that, or this past weekend, I should say, last weekend. So we've been none. She's a great guy. None short of amazing. So Al, keep going, my guy. And we look forward to seeing some more graphic design stuff you do make down the road. And looking forward to. I'm sure we'll be talking to you about some things as well. We're including the show, and we hope to have Alex on. I've contacted him; he's going to get back to me. So we're hopefully to have him on, talk some football, fantasy, basketball. Hopefully, maybe as soon as 2 weeks from now. So we'll see. If not, he's told me he's definitely going to come on. So I'll stay tuned for those in the coming days and weeks to come with the announcements. So all right. Well, it's football time. We got 5 games. Excuse me. One, two, three, four, 4 or 5 games to pick from today. So week 0, we are excited. College football kicks off this week. So we're gonna go through them. We are gonna keep standings. So we could see how we do throughout the year for I think for both NFL and college. So when we do the NFL preview coming up in a couple of weeks, we'll do that, and then we'll keep our college football standings as well. So without further ado, first game that kicks off the season in Ireland, Iowa State versus Kansas State, and
Banger.
yeah, and it should be another good one. As always, the Ireland ones are good ones. Last year was a good one with Georgia Tech, Florida State. So without further ado, Mark, who, as you see, you have Kansas State. Why do you have Kansas State?
Um, Obviously, I like Kansas State to win that conference. I know those Dublin games get a little bit weird. Dublin's real rowdy, and they really like American football. We saw that last year with the Georgia Tech and Florida State game. I think Kansas State ends up having too much firepower. I love their quarterback Avery Johnson. I like what they're returning. Again, I like them to win that conference. I think they win a game in week 0 that is going to be a tough one. The time change might affect everybody, but I think they do win a very, very close game. I think it's a last possession drive type of a game. I always default to the quarterback in a pretty even matchup there, and they have a good one on that squad.
Yeah, and Iowa State's come up Big Ten title game or Big 12 title game, excuse me, where one win, and they were probably in the CFP last year, fell short. I think Iowa can run. I think this could be a rematch, and later in the Big 12 championship game when we get to December, when we have to decide more, when things get decided. But I think I go Kansas State in this one. Avery Johnson, I think it's just gonna be too much with the playmaker and with Kansas State's offense. I think Kansas State's due. They're due to get a big win. They're due for a big season to maybe get into the CFP for the first time since it was created. So give me the Wildcats, and I think it'll be close. It's what the line right now is -3. Probably could move as we get down there, but I think
Yeah,
Kansas
and
State.
it's already moved. The last I saw it over the weekend was it was at 2.5. So we've already
Yeah,
moved a half point as it is.
yeah, as they always say, somebody knows something, and I'm sure we'll be referring to that a lot throughout the season when we do have our picks. So Kansas State for both of us. We will Kansas State for both of us. Another Big 12 team, Kansas State's rival Kansas is taking on Fresno State. I don't think no disagreement there, as Kansas should win. You would think Fresno State lost their quarterback to Michigan. Actually, Michael Keene or Mikey Keene went to Michigan. He transferred. And I thought last year was Fresno State's best shot. They had a chance to knock off Boise to maybe be that Cinderella, but they couldn't. Fresno State lost their coach at the beginning of last season, so I don't think there's enough firepower. Maybe keep it close early, but I think Kansas ultimately in the end pulls away for third, fourth quarter and kind of has a laugher towards the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kansas is at home in this one as well, so that's going to be big. Kansas is going to show out, especially for opening week. Again, I think both teams come out rusty. That's pretty normal, especially you're playing a week before everybody else. But I think Kansas ends up pulling away in the second half. I think they end up winning by probably two to three scores here towards the end, and they coast through the finish line. They just got too much firepower on the offensive side.
Yeah, for Fresno State, a conference where Boise's probably a lot of people are picking Boise to still kind of win that conference and maybe sneak back into the CFP. So I mean, we never know. Fresno could come out and shock. I mean, Kansas has been kind of on the downhill the past couple of years, but we should see. But I think Kansas takes care of business down in Lawrence coming up this Saturday. Um, this Saturday. Another game, Idaho and UNLV. We both have UNLV, but I thought what you were telling me, Mark, about UNLV, especially after losing their coach, is very interesting. Why do you have UNLV?
Um, so I've been doing a lot of research. Obviously, if you are big into the offseason, big into the transfer portal, UNLV became like the FBS's last chance U of sorts. They have a pretty good transfer class coming in. I believe Alex Orgy's going over there. I believe he was named the starter, if I'm not mistaken. They had a good couple of transfer wide receivers. I think, quite honestly, when it comes to things like that, I think a lot of those guys came and they're looking to get in for a year, showcase their talents, coming from a bunch of places where they maybe didn't get a lot of playing time or didn't like the system in which they were in. I think a lot of those guys have a point to prove. I've heard a lot of good things in reports about UNLV camp. Apparently, they look very explosive in camp so far, and in Idaho State. I mean, This should be a runaway one. I think they cover the spread pretty well here, and I think they open some eyes a little bit on a showcase game where there's not a lot of FBS play. They're gonna get a chance to show their stuff, and that's what a lot of the kids came and transferred in there for, is to get playing time, get in a run and gun offense, and show what they have to either go and try to make it to the NFL or get back into big time power four D1 ball.
Yeah, I like UNLV. They lost their coach last year or at last offseason to Purdue, so I they should it should be a laugher. As I'm kind of weary about some of your points there with how well they will be this year. I mean, they do got a good recruiting class, but how does the new coach come in? How does he kind of tell the guys, look, let's come together. We lost the coach, so what? And but it's an FCS Idaho State. Idaho State's pretty is okay. They kind of something they make a run in the FCS every year, but and they get in the FCS playoffs. But UNLV should make it in a laugher as well. Covered spreads minus 25.5. Do they get there? I would think so. Maybe they might have to work for it a little bit, but I think at the end they come across the path. UNLV wins comfortably. All right, Sam Houston State and Western Kentucky, a conference that's kind of underrated this year with James Madison. Then they're going to be fighting the Dukes for maybe a CFP berth down if we get that far down the road. If JMU is the team people are talking about, we both have Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky should. I think this could be probably the best game of the week. Well, second best game we should say of the week. I don't see. I mean, Sammy State has some good years. They had a decent year last year, but I think Western Kentucky's due for kind of a decent bounce back year this year after the last few.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously we both have Western Kentucky. I think they should be able to handle business, but don't sleep on some of these smaller schools here. Especially when it's two going at it. You never know what could happen. Some of these schools like these Sam Houston's of the world, they come in and they shock people with the style of offense they like to run. They're gonna put Western Kentucky in some binds, but I do think the Hilltoppers, I believe they are. I think they end up pulling away towards the end of this game and showing a bit of their dominance. But it wouldn't shock me if this is a closer one than people expect. Being that again, I think you have to remember that this is a lot of these smaller schools. A chance to shine on national TV. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of stuff going on. This is week zero, so this is everybody's gear up week before week one. They're in a national spotlight and they want to show who their school is. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a closer game than expected.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the best games. If it's not Iowa State, Kansas, this might be the best game. Western Kentucky, comes in and they're playing for potential CF. Not I wouldn't say CFP, but maybe get a nicer bowl when we get to bowl season down the road over Sam Houston State. West Kentucky wins probably closer. The line right now is -10. I could see it -10. Could see it even a little closer. So we shall see Saturday. But both have Western Kentucky. All right, the one we do disagree on. I'm just going to get into this: Stanford versus Hawaii. As Hawaii is, as this is a returning game. Hawaii went to Stanford last year, and Stanford is coming to Hawaii this year. You have Hawaii, which I thought was pretty interesting too, and why?
Yes, sir. Give me the Rainbow Warriors, baby.
Um, so you have Hawaii winning. Why do you think Hawaii pulls off against a ACC Stanford?
Man, so here's my thing with Hawaii. I think it does end up being a good game. Stanford, they've been on a downslope as a program for quite a while now. Pretty much since Andrew Luck and all them boys left, and the McCaffreys of the world. They're not a powerhouse like they used to be. While Hawaii is honestly a rising team, I think they can make some noise potentially depending on what happens here. Stanford did lose a lot of all of their best players in the portal this past season. So they're trying to look for some new stars. Hawaii is notorious for strong starts. They came in last year and almost had a huge upset. It was a end of the game loss for them. Hawaii is returning 18 starters. this year. They're returning their head coach, and they have back-to-back 5-win seasons. Now that might not sound like a lot, but when it comes to a Hawaii team that struggles in recruiting, bringing back a senior led team with a team that knows how to win more games than what Hawaii is used to, and a team that is notorious for strong starts and giving big school scares. I think that this year they pull it off. While Stanford is kind of hurting it on their back end, losing their best players in the portal like they have, they're coming to Hawaii, which isn't going to be the easiest to play in August. And Hawaii's been practicing in that all year. Whereas Stanford, you're not going to be used to that kind of weather. Um, I think I like Hawaii in this one to get a last second upset again. Um, the Rainbow Warriors, man, they have a chance to make some noise. Um, with Stanford coming in, probably overlooking them a little bit, thinking that this should be a rollover win. Hawaii has a knack of surprising people when people do that, especially early on in the season. I think they have guys that have something to play for, and Hawaii's got a chance to make some noise here. So I'm gonna pick the upset. I'm picking the senior led team, and I think this is my bold prediction right now. Hawaii over on 5 wins this year. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. But it starts with week one going 1-0 against Stanford.
All right, that is. We're gonna write that down. I'm gonna write that down right now so that Hawaii, if my pen will work. Hawaii over 5 wins, and they are in the Mountain West as well, versus with Boise and all them. So I don't know.
Yep. You can go ahead and make fun of me at the end of the year, but you know what? If somehow some way they end up at 6 wins, I'm gonna be going crazy for the Rainbow Warriors.
Hey, good. Good for them. I want to see real quick here. I don't know. Do they have Hawaii or let's see. Do they have Boise on a schedule? Because if you're hyping them up, I'm interested to see this game's on CBS. If you all are interested, Saturday night at 7:30. I want to see. Do they have Boise? If they have Boise, I think that's
One
gonna be
West late night, baby. Let's go.
at late night, seven prime time. Don't look like they avoid Boise this year. They get Arizona.
Even
That's
better.
an interesting game. They get Fresno. They get UNLV, so they got some chance to make some noise. They avoid Boise this year unless they make it to the title game, Mountain West title game in a couple in December. So, but yeah, you like that. I like Stanford. I don't know, with Hawaii, it's just I don't know, maybe it's just because I think the bigger conference should win these type of games, but Stanford's got six or seven defensive line guys coming back. Remember Frank Wright. Remember Stanford just fired their coach earlier in the offseason, and the GM Andrew Luck still looking for a coach. Frank Wright is the interim, so I think that could play a role. And they just got a great receiver senior from Wisconsin, CJ Williams, who's transferred. I don't know. I like Stanford. I think Stanford will they kind of have a down year, yes, but I think they take care of Hawaii. Hawaii. Hawaii's due to break through in a good and like you said, could it be 5 or 6 wins? Absolutely, but Stanford. I don't know. Hawaii's favored 2.5, which I think it's interesting, but I get it. Out west, they're out west. They're in Hawaii, which is only like a 2 hour time difference, I think, for Stanford. But I think I like Stanford. That's my first disagreement of the year. So give me Stanford. I think they win. I think it might be close. It's close, but I could see him Stanford running away at some point too if they get a lead. But that's just I don't know, man. That's tough. That's a tough game to pick right there. And well, I don't know. Hawaii. I might eat my words, but I think Stanford wins.
Let's go
I
Rainbow Warriors.
As that game, you can check that game out 7:30 on CBS. Iowa State, Kansas State, noon on ESPN. Fresno State, Kansas, 6:30 Eastern on Fox, and then Western Kentucky versus Sam Houston, 7 o'clock Eastern on CBS Sports Network. So check your local listings for all those games in your area. You should get them if you have the the channels. So we're excited. We are excited for tonight or for week 0. So without further ado,
Welcome back, football.
we are excited. Another high school starts this week. I'm excited. They start Friday as well, so good luck to all the high school teams competing from D5 to D1. Best of luck. But really quick, out of all the games, Mark, you have what is your? We have Kansas State minus 3, Kansas minus 13, Western Kentucky minus 10, Hawaii minus 2.5. Give me a lock based on those. Who covers out of those five?
Um, I it's a tough one. I want to call Kansas State my lock, but at the same time, Iowa State again, kind of like you said in our college football preview, they're gritty and they're sneaky and you're in Dublin. It does make a difference. Some people that might not understand that might think that it might not, but it does make a difference. I think I'm going with Kansas as my lock. I think they do cover the spread. I don't think Fresno is going to be able to handle them. So I think I'm going there. I think I'm going Kansas covers the spread. I know it's one that's kind of out there, but at the same time, I don't see Fresno being able to hang with Kansas. And I think Kansas has a point to prove in a wide open conference there, where they anybody can make a possible run, and they want to have a good showing to start, and they got offensive firepower. So that's who I'm going with. I'll probably eat my words there, but that's who I'm going with my lock for week 0.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm sticking my Stanford guns. I think +2.5. They get it done. I
It's
don't know. Something
it's a
tells
good
me.
bet, man, because I think if Stanford wins, I think they win big against Hawaii. I think if Hawaii wins, they win in something close. So I mean, it makes sense. You like Stanford, and a 3-point swing, even if Hawaii does give them a scare, and Stanford pulls it out, it's probably a last second field goal. Or I think they just obliterate Hawaii and blow the doors off them. So it's not a bad line, especially getting 2.5.
And you got to give credit to Hawaii for scheduling these games. They haven't really been competitive
They're
in these
not
games.
afraid, man.
No, 2 years ago they went to the Big House, played Michigan at a prime time spot. Now they get the TV to themselves against Stanford. I still like Stanford. I think the lock's +2.5. Like, probably eat our words there too, but give me Stanford plus the points, and we are ready. We're ready for a great football year. We're diving. We already been talking about playing next week's show. We got some great insight from next week's week 1. We got some good games to talk about, and we'll wrap up the Browns conversation for preseason, and then we'll give that a break until the following week when we get going with that. But we're excited and excited to get this going. Excited for football because before you know it, it's gonna be February, and we're gonna be stuck with college basketball and talking Super Bowl and be like, where did the time go? So we are very excited for that. So with that being said, Mark, week 3, how do you feel?
Hey man, I think it's great. Again, kind of like you said, before we know it, it'll be March March Madness and things like that. So before it's kind of premature possibly, but I appreciate you guys, all the listeners, and my guy Kyle here for joining us along the ride here throughout football season. It's one of the best times of the year. It's our favorite time of the year. And obviously there's a lot to talk about and a lot coming up. So I appreciate you guys joining us on this ride here, and stay tuned for more because there's only more to talk about as these games go.
Yeah, and we're gonna have some. I'm sure we'll have breaking news at some point. We're excited. We hope we even talk about to get breaking news while reacting live to it if it comes through. One of these shows would be cool to react to it, depending on what it is. Real quick to go back to the Browns. If you saw this, I'm sure you heard this on Monday, this past or Monday. Judkins, he does not know. We don't know if he's going to play this year. We just found out that he's there. He hasn't signed yet, and we don't know. They don't know if he's going to sign until the NFL concludes their investigation. And I heard through a source that that the Browns are trying to trying to NFL speed this up, but I don't know. We don't know how that's going to go. So, man, I just heard just some other things in the news. Brian Robinson, he might get released from the Commanders. He gets released. The Browns, if I'm the Browns, you gotta go. I think you gotta make that call to Robinson.
Yeah, I think you definitely take a flyer. I don't think they believe in Ford the way they did 2 years ago. I know Samson is looking good, and he's looking like he might be taking over the RB1 spot here. But with Judkins and that whole situation, I mean, I don't love it, but at the same time, I think you got to roll with the punches on this one. It wasn't something you expected. I think they just want Judkins' side to start to give a little after the mistake that was made, regardless of what actually happened there. It was public, and there are some consequences there, obviously. And I think I hope he signs. I liked him in college, and I want to see him on the field. But I do agree if Brian Robinson ends up getting released by the Commanders, I think you take a flyer on him,
Yeah.
and you let that work out. Also, I know earlier today, if to touch on college football, those of you that do follow Ohio State football, Ryan Day did announce Julian Sand as QB1. I think we all probably expected that, but um, throughout camp, they did say Keenholz looked pretty good. I figured it was all smoke and mirrors to get Sayan to play a little bit better and a little bit harder, but Sayan was named QB1 for next week at Texas, and it's all systems go there. So we'll see how it goes. They did say that Keenholz is going to be a part of the offense still, so I'm assuming we'll probably see what we saw with Devin Brown in years prior, where Brown comes in. In this case, it's Keenholz coming in for possible goal line scenarios, run packages, things like that, to try to keep him around at least for until the end of the year. I don't think Keenholz stays after this year, with St. Clair coming, but yeah, Ohio State has their starting quarterback, and I hope they made the right choice. I like saying hopefully. I mean, he wasn't a number one recruit for no reason. So I hope he's ready to rock against Texas because that's a big game.
Yeah, we are going to deep dive into that next week. We got some other big news to talk about. Alabama without one of their star running backs, so we'll dive into that next week. Along with we'll wrap up week 0, get into week 1, and we'll wrap up some preseason football for the NFL and get you ready for week 1 because before I know it, we're going to be rocking and rolling, and we're going to be knee deep into this and getting going. So we once can't talk. Reiterate what Mark said. We appreciate you if you made it this far. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the past 2 episodes, and thank you for listening to this one. We will be back next week on same time to give you all our analysis breakdown and get you set for what should be an exciting week 1. And as our guy Pat McAfee says, the most glorious and the best college football season ever, and we cannot wait to get this going with that and NFL plus more sports and news to come. So thank you for joining us, everybody. We appreciate you. I'm Kyle. He's Mark. We will see you next week only on the final whistle.